just to introduce myself at first, Hanseatic Bank, I will elaborate about that a bit in the next slide. I'm sure not everybody knows Hanseatic Bank. It's not big as NGE or other companies. Nevertheless, we are belonging to two big companies. On the one hand side is Société Générale, big universal French bank, and also 25% still owned by Otto Group in Germany. Otto is one of an e-commerce commercial, and I'm the lead people of organization. So, I think 4 years ago it would be director of HR. So it's now people and organization. Organization is for organizational development. And I will tell you why the title changed and what happened to us, because maybe first on some figures on Hanseatic Bank. We are a consumer finance bank with around 600 employees now. We are on the market for more than 50 years now, as you can see on the figures, from the beginning and during all the years successful in what we did. But nevertheless, we started end of 2016 and beginning of 2017 to become a more agile organization. So I'm coming from a different perspective now, because we started with these questions of new work earlier than the pandemic. Nevertheless, the pandemic had quite a few impacts on our thoughts how to work after the pandemic. Just to remind you, so we're coming from a really traditional hierarchical organization, a bank. As you can imagine, you have a lot of regulatory and hierarchical structures you have to fulfill. And 2017 we started with a, I wouldn't say it's a project because we didn't have a blueprint. It was just a conviction in the company, driven by some people, including one of the management, one of the CEOs, to start with this transformation. So I'm not going to elaborate too much on on this agile transformation. We can do it in the next break maybe, because it's not the focus on this presentation now. But if we are talking about agile, then it's a question, of course, of new work, because we are talking about less hierarchies, more collaboration between teams, breaking silos, different ways of communication. And we are working in the meantime in self-organized teams, using agile methodologies. Of course, we do have different levels of agile maturity, I would call. It's more or less pretty clear if you go to risk or you go to finance, which is very much regulated. My simple example is always, you can't book agile to accounts, then you are in a problem. So, but what you can do is you can use, of course, agile methodology. You can change mindset and organization in terms giving responsibility to the people to organize themselves, their work, to break the silos, to work together. So you can do this in all departments. And what happened in 2018, it was not driven, as you can see, by the pandemic. It was driven by our sister company in Hamburg. It's BDK. It's in German, it's Bank Deutsches Kraftfahrzeuggewerbe. So it's the abbreviation is much more easy, I guess. So it's BDK. What is BDK doing? BDK is focused also on car financing business together with the car dealers. Our focus as Hanseatic Bank, we are also a consumer finance bank, but we are focused on other parts of this business, mainly on personal loans to homeowners with some special products, and also on the credit card business, basically revolving credit card business. We figured out that we had a problem, especially BDK. We are 2 banks in Hamburg located at 5 locations with still growing employees. And so the project started in 2018 to think about, okay, what could we do? And at the end, we got the permission from other parental companies to work on a real estate development program to create a new building for both companies, which we will rent. It's not bought by us, but we will rent it. And we will move to it in 2022. So in this context, we started, of course, together with BDK, and this is really interesting because it's also, from the cultural perspective, a difference, because we are more or less advanced in agile. BDK is not. And if we are talking, so you have some cultural differences and organizational differences. And nevertheless, we are doing this project together. It's really interesting to do it. And then we figured out it was already in 2019, because when we are talking about new work, as I mentioned in this agile context, we were already ready to go to remote, because we implemented from Hanseatic Bank side. We had our first home office concept in 1996, I remember. We switched to mobile work with negotiating with our Works Council at the end of 2019 to an employer agreement on mobile working. So that was already in place, and we were thinking about, okay, what should be the future workplace in the new building? How should it look like? Not having in mind what is with the pandemic and these extensions of remote working. And when we thought about that, we were pretty clear on the fact that we would like to work as much independent as possible in future, giving the teams the opportunity to organize themselves from every location at any time they want. And at the end of the day, also, we would like to work in a way which fosters this way of collaboration between the teams and in the company, and also with our sister company, of course. And then if you are thinking about that and reading all the articles in the internet, then you can figure out at least a lot more. I heard a lot today, really inspiring. We thought more or less about all of these things, except this hybrid part of it. And then you can figure out that the future workplace is something which is more or less complex around the environment, at least the desks, the furnitures, especially the IT. I really like this no-code idea, because in the future workplace, it's also a question of personalizing the workplace, and you can do it with a no-code. I'm not doing promotion for it, but I liked it with this no-code idea. And you have these 8 aspects. I'm not talking too much about the 4 on the left side, because they are more linked to IT equipment, IT environment, software, and such questions. And I could do, but it's not the focus. Well, I would like to talk more about the other aspects, like collaboration, communication, personalization, and this topic of CSR, with corporate social responsibility. And for collaboration, for us, we were thinking about, okay, the new workplace, it should be from the IT side as much as possible collaborative, because you need the tools. And I think in the pandemic, we learned that collaboration in remote is not just having a video conference. It's a lot more about as that. And therefore, in terms of this new facility, we were thinking about, okay, the new place should be supporting collaboration. What does it mean? So it doesn't mean that you have single rooms for the people, of course. So it means you will have open spaces. You will have co-working areas. You will have an environment which is supporting communication, because the people could meet. And places to have fun, like in the presentation we have seen from the guys from DHL. And so we were thinking about that and creating a concept for that, what we are going to try to implement into our new facility. And also on this personalization, as I mentioned, it also means that you need to have places where people can work together, but on the other hand, maybe you have an HR controller or a financial controller. They need to work on the figures. They need quiet spaces. So you need everything in the facility. And I think it was part this morning of a presentation, I guess it was, but I couldn't listen to it, unfortunately, that in the new building, it's not that you have a workplace, a fixed workplace, so it's an open space. We do have home bases just to get this ambidextry giving stability to the people, that they know where they are belonging to. On the other hand, give enough flexibility that they could move to the places they need to the work, for their work. So it means if I need to work in a quiet room, I have the opportunity to go to a quiet room to book it for me. Or on the other hand, if I would like to meet my team, I have my home base, I can book a place there and do my work there. If we need to co-work, we have a co-working, we have project garage, flexible rooms, and I will show you a bit how it would hopefully look like when we move in 2022. So this will be, it's under construction currently. This will be our future workplace. What is interesting is, as I mentioned, so this are the plans created in 2018, already 2019. It's a place for around 1,000 workplaces, which means that's really workplaces. You have places where you can work a lot more in this building because you have these co-working areas and so on. We have a big cafeteria in the basement where you can sit with 300 or 400 people. So you can work there too because the total facility does have a Wi-Fi where all the connections are Wi-Fi based. You can work everywhere in the building. You can work outside in the garden. You can work on the terraces we have. You can work everywhere with your laptop. So that's the technical environment. We planned this building already with this having in mind that we have already a concept for mobile working with around 30% desk ratio. This already increased, so the idea is to have 40%, but it's not fixed. We will see what we will do after the pandemic, what is necessary for the people, what is necessary for the company. We believe, and we don't want to have, it's not like it was discussed today already, some companies decided, okay, we could save all these spaces, so we are going to 100% remote. It's not our way to do it, because for Agile you need also a good connection, and we strongly believe that an organization at the end of the day is a social formation. So in the pandemic, for the people already being employed, it wasn't such a big issue because they have the networks, they know all the people. So for the newcomers, it's a bit harder, more complicated. So we believe we will have something in between. We will have people at the premises, we will have people in future at home. And this is what was increased, of course, by the pandemic, is that it's pretty clear that we will work hybrid in future. So which means, as already discussed today, all the things what it means at the end of the day. But still, we think that we need a building which supports our way of working and which should be a place, and Andreas mentioned that after lunch, for social interactions. And we would like to create something which gives the opportunity for social interactions and to be there and to give an opportunity for the people that they would like to come there and to see the colleagues at the end of the day. So that's the building, as you can see. Just to give you an idea, what does it mean and how we try to bring into life what we are thinking about. This is the structure of the building. So you have a kind of a long bar in the front and at the end, and the kind of fingers. And then you have an open space, but the open space doesn't mean that you Wow, that's good. So that you have an open space with 50 very concentrated workspaces. So it's an open space, yes, but it's 4 benches, and you have in a middle zone here, and you have think tanks and other rooms. And we will give also in this change management project, as it obviously is, the opportunity to the employees to create their home bases, which means there are some of the modules which are, you can see here, they are more or less mandatory, like this one. You have a locker, you have something for garbage, and you have the printers, but you have the opportunity for the people is to create in these areas. They can decide, okay, we would like to have a second think tank, or we would like to have something like a higher desk to work more collaborative, or to have the morning coffee together. And it could be also that you have a think tank with a small couch and something like that. So you have this way of organization in the building, and the building has including it's 6 floors, and cafeteria in the first floor in English terms. And don't look too much on the colors. So the color concept is not finished now, so it will probably different, but all the rooms and the structures and the colors will be the same for the same building, because we are moving in with 2 companies, and we don't want to have constructions if some company needs more space, or someone is giving less space to another one. So this is you can move from A to B to C, and also with the network, it's possible to be very, very flexible in this new building. What we also have, I already mentioned that, is in this area here, we have at every floor we have a kitchen, but we also have a social space where the people can meet together. There is also a conference room, a bigger one in the very close to that. And there's a dedicated area also, which is a co-working space. We have a project garage in the 5th floor directly to a terrace. So it's also nice, interesting places where it would be a good idea and nice to be. So also give you some idea how it would look like. And what is also, I think, interesting is in terms of IT equipment, and workplace, is that we created a standard workplace, which means every employee will have a laptop. Every desk will be equipped with 2 monitors, and everyone will have a mouse and a headset and what he needs as personal equipment. And therefore, you can work everywhere. You just take your laptop and you move somewhere. And I can move to BDK and work in BDK area, so it's an open space also between the companies. And if I would like to print something, I can start to print the printing at HB area, and then I move to BDK and I can print it at that area for the meeting I have or whatever, if I have to print. Obviously, so we should work digitalized. So just an idea, to give you an idea, because what is also important on this question of hybrid working is that all the bigger means conference S up to conference, from conference S up to maximum conference XL is equipped with video technology where you can adjust and adapt at once with your laptop, and you can have your team meeting hybrid with the people logging in and being part of the game if you are sitting together. So, as I mentioned, so we started with these ideas before the pandemic. Then when the pandemic came, we were sitting and saying, okay, what does it mean? Do we have to create a new building? Do we have to think about a healthy building? We had a lot of ideas, for example, to make it contactless. So if you can manage everything with an employee app, the elevators, the doors, whatever. So, but when we were thinking about it and discussing it, at the end we came to the conclusion that in the next pandemic, which is probably waiting behind the corner, we will have the same solution than today. We will move to remote, more or less. What we did is that we a bit adjusted the spaces. We made it a bit less compact, so that we have the opportunity, if you would have to work or would like to work as it is today, you can have the distance between the workspaces, and you can use the office spaces if you want. We adjusted the calculation on the remote work, because a very fast decision, as already also mentioned today from the management, to say, okay, we understood it is working. So no reason to think about it, no doubt about it. We will be in remote work after the pandemic, of course. So currently we are talking about 40 to 50%. We don't know what will be the real value after the pandemic. We will, as we are in a more agile mode, we will start with something, with an experiment, and then we will adjust step by step if needed. So that's the impact of the pandemic. So at the end of the day, what I would like to say is, beside all we today discussed, is that also the environment can support the new, and probably has to support the new work in terms of giving flexibility, the opportunity to communicate, fostering, supporting collaboration, and as Andreas mentioned, and I fully agree on that, and this is one from an HR's perspective, together with change management and communication probably, is what we need to think about is what we could do that the facility of the company in future is a place to be that's different than today or before. It's not just a place to work, because we need to offer something different to the people, that they are happy to come and to socialize, to have this social interaction, and to become and to stay still as a social formation, because I think it's important. I know that a lot of companies working international, they're working on pure remote working together. So I'm not saying it's not possible. It is possible for us. I'm not talking about us. We would like to stay in a situation that we are a social formation, and because we think it's necessary for us. So that's our motto. So SG Campus, is Société Générale Campus Hamburg, is the place to be, hopefully. So we are working on it.